Okay, so I'm basically trying to compress all of the recordings and make it into a video. But I noticed that my very first audio recording, where I was really going into the whole coming to terms about my dad and the revelation of our relationship, the audio was so freaking bad because I had my Bluetooth on. So I'm actually going to start over. And yes, so this will be part 1. Is my dad a narc or emotionally inept? Okay, so to give you all just a light background, you will learn more about my upbringing and familial history in my book. But I can kind of give you guys a brief explanation behind my understanding of this supposed relationship I thought I had with my dad, and this supposed and once felt bond I thought I had to him that has now since been revealed to me that it was all just a lie. And here's why. So my dad's been in and out of prison since I could remember. I vividly remember a time, though. I think I was we were still living in San Diego. Oh man, I had to have been like, crap. I know, because my nana, my dad's mom, she still lived in her old house. Like, this is like a legendary, iconic home, because this is like a part of my childhood history. This is where I spent some time at as well. But back to the story. I think I was like 7 or 8. Between those ages, right? Well, this day he was getting released from prison. And I remember that whole day I was so anxious, because I only had like little bits and pieces of like my memory of really times that I had with my dad. And don't get me wrong, like the times that I remember with my dad were very special. My dad was very loving and caring when I was a child, and he was very protective of me as well. He was very protective of me. I will honestly admit that, and I will get into why later. But let me keep focus. Okay. I remember this day like it was yesterday. My Nana, I know she was getting annoyed with me because I kept going out the door and I kept peeking because she kept saying he was on the way. And I guess, I don't know if it was my uncle who went to get him. Someone went to get him. And I... Actually, this one time, finally he pulled up, and he didn't see me, but I seen him, because she had this like wooden gate on the side of the house. Or no. I think it's a gate to get to the front door. It was like a wooden one. And I kind of like jumped over that and peeked over, and I seen him walking up. So I ran back to his room. And I laid in the bed, and I was so nervous, and I just pretended like I didn't see him, like I didn't know he was just about to walk in the door. So I acted like I was asleep. And he like snuggled up against me, and he calls me Tutu, or Shy, but mainly Tutu. And he's like, Tutu, and I melted. Right there in his arms. And my dad was very, very caring. And he was what I believed in my eyes growing up. My dad was the only representation of a real man that I had known, because my dad was the only man that in my life had not abused me in any way. In fact, the reason why I know that that's not in him, as far as I went, and as far as, how he is as a person, he didn't play that. And I remember this time I was like 5 years old, 5 or 6. And my dad and my uncle, like, you know, they're ex-gangbangers. And they had like it was like a freaking living room full of dudes. And I remember this one dude in particular. I remember the name, but I'm not going to say it. He was one of my dad's friends. And he was sitting at my nana's table. And right at the table, I remember this, like, I'm literally going into my photographic memory. She had, like, it was like, I believe, like a wooden table. And then behind that, it was like the laundry area. And he says, Shy, come here. And my dad, at this point, I was sitting on the floor playing with a toy or something. And the dude was like, Shy, come here. And I went up to him and he patted his knee and he, picked me up. And my dad walked out and seen me sitting in his lap. And my dad flipped the fuck out. Like, I had never seen my dad like that before. And I just remember all the guys left. My dad was just so fucking mad. He just went the fuck off and he sat me down. And he looked at me and he told me, don't you ever sit in no man's lap again. I don't want to ever catch you sitting in a man's lap again. And I didn't understand it. I was like, why is he telling me this? And yeah, so from that moment, that memory stayed with me. And I knew my dad to be my protector. And though I had not ever, as a child, vocalized the abuse that I don't know if he ever suspected or even once feared that I may or may not suffer, I don't know if that kind of played a part in, in this whole thing, but yeah, I never ever told my dad what happened. Like, when I was a child, I'm talking like from a child's point of view, like, I never told him. I didn't tell him what happened until I got in rehab, until I went to rehab last year. But other than that, like, he basically didn't know anything. That's what I believed. I thought, I don't know. I just felt like he didn't know anything. That's just what I thought. I don't know. So, lo and behold, years go down the line. My dad winds up doing another bid right after I'm seeing him at that time that I described when I was about 8. We moved back to Vegas. This is when, I think around the time we first moved back. Yeah, so I had to have been 6 or 7 then. I couldn't have been that old. I had to have been I was young. I was between 5 to 7. I was very young. That's the only time I remember seeing him again. Until I was about 10, 11, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so fast forward. We move to Vegas. My mom goes to jail. We get taken into child protective custody. We were basically staying in foster care. My mom has tried to play with my mind and gaslight me and try to tell me we weren't there for a long period of time. I someday look forward to retrieving my childhood records. I've lived in the state of Nevada for over 15 years. So I'm pretty sure there are some records that I can obtain, whether it's middle school records, elementary records, social services records, etc. Hell, they got my criminal records. They got that too. My childhood records as well. So yeah, she would try to gaslight me and manipulate me into believing we were there for a long period of time. But spirit and time says otherwise. Whether it was a week, 2 weeks, 5 days, 7 days, whatever you try to gaslight someone into believing, the truth always comes to light some way. But lo and behold, back to my dad. Um, yeah, like, he would write me. I do remember talking to him a lot when I first moved here as a kid. He would write me letters and things. He would draw me the most, the most prison-inspired drawings ever. Like, I still have all the cards, the Christmas cards and everything he would make me. And I'm not laughing, like, trying to put it down, but it's just still funny, like, because he's very artsy and artistic. So I was very pleased with the drawings. That's all. I'm just saying prison inspired because, hell, that's all you can do in prison. Draw. Shit. Lord, I'm so sick of people calling me. But, yes. Anywho, so, yeah, like, my dad, we finally reconnected when I was about 10. And I would always go over there. Him and my uncle, they lived in, like, this big house out here and things like that. And I really enjoyed that. Like, it was like an escape. Like, my dad was such a good dad. He would make me breakfast. And he was a very good dad, you know. At the time, I was his only kid. So, yeah. Okay. So, I think where the relationship kind of got rocky was around age 13. Because this is when one of my really, really good friends, actually, in fact, one of the first people I met when I moved to Las Vegas, her name was Chanel. She, was shot and killed. And, to show my tribute and as a way of, like, dealing with the pain, I asked my mom if I can get the tattoo stating on my, not stating, but on my arm, as a tribute to her. And she said, yeah. And I was 13. So, like, my dad, he was infuriated when he found out. Like, my whole side of the family, like, everyone, like, I went from being this, like, sweet, timid, quiet girl in their eyes. And then suddenly, like, I'm, like, this promiscuous little slut, like, all types of shit. And, like, I honestly remember this time, like, my dad, he was with this lady, and I think I kind of touch on it in the next couple clips you guys will hear. I'll try to connect it and allow it to flow. It's because the very initial clip where I was talking about it, that's the audio recording where it was, like, the audio was terrible. So I had to delete it, and now I'm starting anew. But I do talk about that relationship he had with her where allegedly, he was abusive towards her. And, hey, if it's true, I guess I can explain some of the generational karma that was rained down upon me because of my dad's actions, abusing women and then getting into an abusive relationship myself. But yes, back to the topic I was just talking about, which was getting the tattoo. Like, everybody completely, like, flipped on me. Like, I guess I was just, like, this out-of-control kid all of a sudden. Just because I got a fucking tattoo. And I know it's not normal. Like, I wouldn't let my 13-year-old get a tattoo. But, you guys have to understand. I was, like, my mom's fucking confidante, friend. I was in no way in her eyes, and as I reflect on it now, I was in no way her fucking daughter. I was more like a homegirl. So she just, when it came to shit like that, like getting tattoos, like, she didn't give a fuck. So I remember this day, like, my dad, I had asked my dad for some money for some school clothes, because, like, the times he was out of jail, he was not present. Like, he was not really doing much for me. Like, as I got older, my uncle was picking up his slack, which I respect and I appreciate him for that. But my dad was straight up telling me, like, I don't owe you anything. And then he even called me a little hoe one time when I was 13. All because I had a tattoo and I hadn't even been fucking sexually active during that time. I was already fucking scarred from the many years of sexual abuse I had been dealing with and counting, which he had no fucking idea about. So for him to call me a little fucking hoe when I was only 13 years old, like, that really fucking broke my spirit, because it pissed me the fuck off, because this motherfucking coward wasn't even fucking there to fucking protect me, you know? Like, he wasn't even fucking there, but when it called somebody a fucking hoe, like, that's the shit that I don't fucking respect. Like, I can respect some of the good qualities, but I ain't gonna ever just turn the other cheek and act like motherfuckers ain't do some fucking foul ass shit, because he has, you know? But sorry guys, I don't mean to get emotional about it, because when I think about it, it just really pisses me off how parents can say fucking harmful ass shit like that. Like, it was bad enough my mom would fucking call me sluts, tramps, and ugly, and bitches, and all this, and then my dad calls me a fucking hoe, and he's nowhere in the fucking picture, and probably doesn't even want to be. Like, it was just crazy, y'all. So yeah, I was a fucking rebellious ass teenager, but that didn't have nothing to do with me having sex or doing drugs, because that's not what I was doing, you know? I was fighting, I was stealing, you know, I was careless. I didn't give a fuck. I was angry, you know? But my anger and rage, time and time again, was invalidated. So here we are, about 2.5 years later, when I'm 15, and my mom decides that she'll let me go stay with my dad. He was living with my uncle, my nana, and my 2 cousins at the time. And I was, like, more so just excited to be with my cousins, because even though they used to low-key bully me when I was a kid, and, like, one of my cousins was hella mean to me, but, I mean, I kind of, like, we were kids, and, like, what kids aren't mean to each other? I mean, whatever. Like, I could forgive little shit like that. Like, it's kid shit, like, whatever. But, yeah, so him and my aunt drove down here, and they picked me up. I was so fucking excited. Like, I was so happy to be with my dad. I couldn't wait to reconnect with him, and I just wanted to make him proud, you know, because by this time, I had already had 2 tattoos, and for some reason, I don't know why I felt like I was just a piece of shit because I had a tattoo, but, like, I felt like that was the only way I could express myself at the time. I wanted people to feel like how I was feeling, you know? So, by this time, I had 2 tattoos. One across my chest that said, "Only God can judge me," and then another on my wrist. And then, yeah. So, yeah, like, when I got there, like, the first couple days, or maybe, like, maybe the first week or so was great. But then suddenly, like, he just started getting stricter and stricter. Like, he never wanted me to hang out with my cousins. Like, he would have me reading the fucking encyclopedia, which I kind of thank him for today. But he would have me, like, reading the fucking dictionary and shit, and, like, writing out vocabulary words. And, and then this one time I snuck out with my cousin. Sorry, you guys, I'm eating something hot. Hot chips. All right. Then this one time I snuck out with my cousins, and we went on this party bus, and when I got back, my dad snatched me up, and I was so fucking terrified. I was, like, calling my mom the next day, "Get me," like, I'm like, I was so scared, because I had never, like, had that kind of, like, discipline and sternness. So, and I'm not saying I was undeserving of it. Like, I didn't have no business fucking sneaking out and getting drunk and everything like that. Like, anything could have happened to me. So my dad was valid in, you know, I guess his form of, like, disciplining me. Like, he didn't hit me. He just, like, pinned me up and was lecturing me and shit. So I was like, fuck this, you know. But then it just started getting, like, kind of toxic. Like, him and my nana are both fluent in Spanish because of my grandmother, who's from Mexico. They're, you know, Mexican and black. And so I know I'm not crazy, but I would feel like they would be talking in Spanish right in front of me, talking Spanish about me, like, talking shit about me. and shit. And so it was just annoying. Like, my grandma would do fucked up things. Like, I was in desperate need of bras, you know, because I've always been big chested, which was like something I was really ashamed about too. Like, I did not like I was very uncomfortable with my body. I hated my body. I just did not like my body. And I just didn't understand, like, I did not like becoming a woman. Like, it was just, I don't know how to explain it. And, like, at that time, I really needed some good supportive bras because I just felt really insecure about my body. And my grandmother went out and she brought my cousin some bras, knowing I needed some. And I'm just sitting there like, okay. So, like, it was just different things that, like, I just noticed, but I kind of just brushed off and was just like, whatever, like. But I just noticed, like, some shit just wasn't normal, wasn't okay. You don't just get to treat people like that. Because I know that my dad was trying to, I don't know, I guess in his eyes, be there for me. But he wasn't. This motherfucker was sleeping on my uncle's floor. Like, bruh. Like, you need to fucking be a man and do something. Like he wasn't trying to do nothing and was taking out his frustration out on me at sometimes. You know? Like, my dad can be really nasty as far as verbally. Like, he could really say some mean shit. You know, really break your spirit. So, I just eventually just got the fuck up out of there. I think I stayed for maybe a month and then I was out because between my cousin's bullshit that I was dealing with and just, man, oh my God, there was so much bullshit going on and just everything else. I was like, fuck this shit. Like, I'd rather just go deal with the fucking bullshit in Vegas. Fuck it. Like, this is what I'm used to. I ain't used to this shit. Fuck all this shit, man. But yeah, so long story short, my dad and I have always had a very strained relationship. Like, he's just very one-sided, very egotistical. And I don't want to say he's a narc because, I mean, how can I put it? He's in no way a perfect father, but narcs lack empathy. You know, they're just naturally cold and harsh and brutal. Like, my dad, it wasn't like he was doing any of that. But I don't know if it's the guilt and the shame of everything that happened to me and me opening up to him about it that has kind of caused this even bigger strain between us, because now it's like, you know, he's been fucking ignoring me. Now I have to talk to him through his mom and, like, relay messages. Like, today she had the nerve to say, oh, it was really messed up you didn't send your dad a picture of Naraya on her birthday. Like, that was really messed up. Like, Lord, almost called this woman out her name. Excuse me, Jesus. But first off, I've been trying to reach out to that man for something so freaking small and so freaking just, all I was asking this man to do was, look, send my box back, please. Okay. Then he relays through to my grandmother, and then she relays back to me that, oh, he didn't have the money to send it. Motherfucker, that's all you had to say. You could have responded and say, okay, yes, I can send your box back, but I will need you to send the money prior so I can do that, because right now I don't have the extra funds to go and send that back. I understand it's going to cost like $80 to $100 to send back. I know that. Boom. You see how easy it was to just communicate that? But no, it's been this long, dragged out, drawn out fucking situation over fucking nothing. Immaturity, pettiness, egotism. Like, motherfuckers being stuck in there and trapped in their fucking ways. And wondering why they create their own fucking misery and hell. You know? And I understand what it's stemming from, like, but at the same time, like, it's immature, it's childish, it's petty, it's annoying. And, like, I feel like no grown-ass man should be babied either. Like, and that's what my grandmother does. She's always like making excuses for him. And I feel like she's done that with all of her kids, you know? And that's why individually they each are the way they are for that reason. You know? And this is taking a lot to open up about because, you know, oh God. Woo, Lord. Oh my God, I felt that. But, oh my God. Wow, that was a huge download. Thank you. But no, it's two elements to this. I have two families. You know, I have one mother, one father, you know? So it's just interesting to dig deeper and go back into the past, so to speak, and unravel all of these things and just try to get to the root cause of them. And I understand that both sides of my family, both my dad's side and my mom's side, hold strong generational curses from, you know, mental illness, addiction, sexual abuse that gets swept under the rug, you know, that said victim that speaks out is shunned, blackmailed, you know, shamed to silence, made to feel as though they're fucking insane. And so anytime they try to speak out or speak up, you know, it's a problem, you know? So it's just a lot, you guys. I will say that it has been very therapeutic to make this video, because these are questions that I'm really trying to figure out. You know, I mean, I can't just straight up ask my dad, like, hey, are you fucking, like, are you a narcissist? Are you emotionally inept? Like, are you feeling some sort of guilt? I can't even talk. Like, let's communicate. Let's get to the bottom of this. What's going on? But no, some people you just can't do that with. So, I hope this, story and this opening up about, you know, my dad and his side of the family has helped someone, because I know that I'm not the only one that at times feels trapped, and boggled down by a broken family. And all it is, I'm trying to heal my lineage and prepare the next generation of warriors and survivors, not addicts, you know, mentally ill folks. You know, we don't want to keep raising and breeding those type of people, those type of kids. You know, we need leaders. We need creators, visionaries, healers, you know, spiritual teachers. Come on now. Preachers, if you will. Prophets. We need people like myself, because it takes strength and courage to come forth with this information and to come forth on a public platform in an attempt to not only unlearn, deprogram, uncondition, and the list goes on, but to learn from all of this, to break these curses, to grow. You know, and I just feel like, you know, it's not an easy task to do alone, but it's also not impossible. So again, I pray that this message has touched someone, and I pray that you find the courage to tell your truth, tell your story, and, you know, in due time, it'll all make sense. Peace.